Perhaps you wonder if you should take some steps to properly set up your estate planning strategy. Based on the experience of other investors I have worked with, I will give you 7 tips so that you know when you need your estate planning to become a fact. Hi. If you are wondering how to protect your assets, you are in the right place. I have established over 150 funds and holding companies and over 200 investment accounts around the world. I help entrepreneurs develop an individual asset protection plan. On my channel, Wealth Advisor Maria Panasiuk, you will learn how to diversify your assets, how to use financial services, and what solutions you should choose to manage your money properly. Let's see what the European legal system offers to wealthy families today. Indeed, a family foundation might help you achieve succession goals. But is it really necessary? We have several other solutions that suit the same purpose and are much easier to manage. When I work with really large private assets, sometimes even billions of euros, much more often I see a private investment fund or even a holding company and not a family foundation. These are very often just ordinary holding companies registered in Europe. A family foundation should come into play when we have an uncertain family situation, underage children, or fear of disputes in the family. If the situation is stable and succession culture has been developed, a company that will act as a family fund is perfect for the succession process. So what kind of fund you can set up in Europe? It may be an internally managed fund called as Alternative Investment Fund. IFE is currently very popular in Europe. It may be run in the form of limited liability company or a joint stock company, and it's much easier to run than regular funds when you need full engagement of a regulator and a depository bank. IFE can invest in capital in a variety of assets, including shares, bonds, real estate. It may invest in commodity markets, as well in other investment funds, derivatives, shares in other non-public companies. IFE may also grant loans or invest money in a bank deposits. Did you notice? I have listed all the activities for which the family foundations are used. IFE can do the same. There are also many tax incentives for IFE, however, those will differ in various countries in Europe. So will the cost you need to cover to have it ready to run. As an example, in Poland, the foundation of IFE takes the same amount of time and money as private family foundation. If you compare the costs to establish a private family foundation in Poland or in Liechtenstein, the costs are quite the same, 5,000 euro. But when you compare the costs to establish IFE, they differ a lot. In Poland, you may establish an IFE within 5 months and you pay approximately 6,000 euro. In Cyprus, you will pay 10,000 euro, and in Luxembourg, you may expect to be charged even 30,000 euro. What else can you do today? It doesn't have to be IFE, as you may establish a simple holding company in almost all countries in Europe. An ordinary holding company offers you exemption for dividends and capital gains if you hold the shares in your investment for approximately 12 to 24 months. It may differ from country to country. Regardless of the structure we just discussed, or you choose, it's important to have the right management in place and to run a real business. After all, if you run an investment business, you still use a legal team that conduct your acquisitions. You have tax advisors who supervise your financial flows. You have bank and investment accounts. If your portfolio carries a value of 10 million euro, this is the moment when you start to think how to structure your assets properly and how to choose proper partners to make sure it will be managed safely and with good returns for you. But how does it look in practice? Let's analyze the case of the client of mine. He's 35 years old and he has created a group of technology companies. Their current value is 2 million euros. Additionally, since he made his first exit already, he maintains an extensive portfolio of assets that need to be managed on a daily basis. Therefore, he watches several investment platforms to make sure he controls the assets invested in the capital market. At the same time, his wife manages real estate investments, and they both raise their young children. Now imagine that something happens to one of them. Who is able to put it all in order with such an extensive asset structure? Creating a family trust structure or a holding company in such situation is a must. Another example. This week, I heard from a woman who inherited a fortune from her father. The value and especially volume of the assets exceeds her expectations. 2 years have passed since her father's death, and she's still looking for the papers and wondering if she has found everything or if there are still assets she doesn't know about. As you can see, the scenarios can be different. After several years of observing the growing private fortunes, I can say that there are several factors that define when you need to organize your assets and choose the right legal vehicle for yourself. Or maybe you need to choose an external asset management company to assist you. Well, it turns out it can be both. Therefore, I will ask you a few questions in a moment, and if your answer to at least 2 of them is positive, it means that you should start organizing the structure or your assets as soon as possible. Here are the questions. Does your portfolio include various assets and you deal with one of them, for instance, a company, because you manage the business there, and you don't have time for the others? Does your liquid portfolio amount to 10 million euro and is located in a bank account you have opened a year ago, and you plan to invest it properly as soon as possible, but it's not happening and you have no time for it? Or your portfolio is worth 10 million euro or more and currently is managed by a very friendly, smiling man. You have been working together for several years, but you have never had time to check whether the returns on your investments are what they should be. Do they meet market standards? In fact, you don't remember when you negotiated the terms of cooperation, and you can't say at the moment whether the rules for changing the management fee on your wallet are fair and whether they can be negotiated to your advantage. Or you have underage children and your estate contains various assets, including at least some of them located outside the country you live in. Fifth, your portfolio is perfectly managed and you are very happy with it. However, if you weren't there, you have doubts whether anyone would be able to pull it and keep it in such condition. Another one, you are aware of changes in the financial market, or you are preparing for changes or an exit, and you know that you should change the form of managing your assets because the rules of the game will change, or the structure of your portfolio will change. And the last one, you want to involve your children in managing your estate, and you think it would be worth organizing your estate at the same time. If you answered yes to at least 2 of these questions, it means that you should think about appropriate structure to manage your assets and a wealth advisor services that will allow you to safely go through the changes. If this is the case and you already know you need support, do not hesitate to write to me.